Edmund Husserl and Phenomenology. The foundations of phenomenology were laid by the German philosopher Edmund Husserl. The Greek word phenomenon means appearance. Phenomenology shifts our emphasis of study away from the external world of objects toward examining the ways in which these objects appear to the human subject and the subjective contribution to this process of appearing. Husserl gives the name phenomenological reduction to this bracketing of the external world. He argues that we cannot be sure of the nature of the outside world, but we can have certainty about the nature of our own perception and about the ways in which we construct the world, the ways in which that world appears to our subjective apparatus. Husserl aimed to establish philosophy on a rational and scientific basis. Husserl presented a succinct account of his own philosophical position in a lecture of 1917 entitled Pure Phenomenology, Its Method and Its Field of Investigation. In this lecture, he defines and refines the concept of phenomenon, which in its simplest meaning refers to something which appears to the subject or observer. Objects would be nothing at all for the cognizing subject if they did not appear to him, if he had of them no phenomenon. Therefore, phenomenon signifies a certain content that intrinsically inhabits the intuitive consciousness. Husserl is not only claiming, as Kant did, that we know the object only as it appears to us, regardless of what it might be in itself. He is also urging that the object is nothing in itself, and its very constitution as an object, as a phenomenon or object which appears, is grounded on the subjective apparatus which intuits it as an object. There is nothing beyond the sphere and status of phenomena. The phenomenal world is not merely the only reality we know, but it is the only reality. When we perceive an object, that is, when an object appears to us, this is not a single or simple operation. The object might be given to us or appear to us in different ways. We might look at it from above, below, near, far, past, and present. So we in fact have several single intuitions of the same object. These single intuitions are combined and integrated into the unity of one continuous consciousness of one and the same object. One unitary phenomenon permeates all the manifolds of phenomenal presentation. What we call a phenomenon or object as it appears to us is in fact an intuited unity of a series of perceptions of an object. On the other side, consciousness itself is a unity of a variety of processes that are performed upon phenomena, such as remembering, referring, combining, contrasting, and ultimately theorizing. So we have a situation where the unity of one consciousness constitutes intrinsically a single synthetic objectivity. The entire world of phenomena, ranging from the simplest designations of objectivity to complex groupings and subgroupings of objects, is constituted by acts of consciousness, by a variety and hierarchy of such acts which themselves must form part of a pattern of ordered unity. The point here is that it is consciousness that determines objectivity, that classifies and arranges the world of objects and phenomena. Without this activity, there simply would be no objects as such. The task of phenomenology is to examine not the world of objects in itself, but how this world is constituted by a vast range of acts of consciousness. As Husserl says, a phenomenological investigation will address the intrinsic nature of the perceiving itself, that is, the thinking itself, as well as the object that is thought about. As such, phenomenology will be a science of consciousness. Husserl insists on making a distinction between phenomena and objects. Objects such as all natural objects are foreign to consciousness, whereas phenomena comprise the processes and constituents of consciousness itself. This distinction indicates a sharp contrast, says Husserl, between phenomenology and the so-called objective sciences. Phenomenological reduction is the method for effecting radical purification of the phenomenological field of consciousness from all obtrusions from objective actualities. What does such a reduction involve? First of all, it involves suspending or bracketing or putting out of action the whole of material nature and the entire corporeal world, including one's own body, the body of cognizing subject. Secondly, we must exclude all psychological experience, all consideration of conscious processes being grounded in the body or nature. Therefore, the objective world, as comprehending both nature and the psyche, is as if it were placed in brackets. Consciousness and what it is conscious of is what is left over as a field for pure reflection. We will treat objects not as independent entities but as correlates of consciousness. We will not regard these as actualities but will view them in relation to the consciousness that constitutes them. Hence, in examining pure consciousness, we are examining not only the structures of thought and perception that are immanent in consciousness, but also the entire range of external phenomena as they appear to and are structured by consciousness. Husserl replaces the notion of objectivity with a model of intersubjectivity. Coherence is found no longer in nature itself or in objects themselves, but in the patterns of our perceptions of objects.